What happens when God answers with fire, and then with silence? What if the greatest prophet didn't fall in battle, but nearly broke after victory? This is not just a story of miracles. It's a story of exhaustion, obedience, and legacy. Because the God who sends fire also speaks in whispers. This is the mystery of Elijah. Mount Carmel stood silent under the burning sun. The people of Israel gathered, unsure of what they believed anymore. For years, they had lived divided between the God of their fathers and the gods of surrounding nations. Today, that question would be answered. In the center stood Elijah, not a king, not a soldier, just a prophet. Across from him were hundreds of prophets of Baal, dressed in bright colors, overflowing with confidence. To the crowd, this didn't look like a fair contest. It looked like a man about to lose. Elijah spoke plainly. "How long will you waver between two opinions?" His words cut through the noise. If Baal was God, serve him. If the Lord was God, follow him. The people said nothing. Silence revealed their fear. The prophets of Baal went first. They danced. They shouted. They called on their God from morning until noon. Their voices grew louder, their movements more desperate. But the sky remained empty. Elijah watched and then spoke again. Not with anger, but irony. "Shout louder," he said. "Maybe your God is asleep." Hours passed. Blood was shed. Still, nothing happened. Then Elijah stepped forward. He repaired a broken altar stone by using 12 stones for the tribes of Israel. This wasn't just a sacrifice. It was a reminder of who they were supposed to be. Elijah did something no false prophet would ever do. He soaked the sacrifice with water. Once, twice, 3 times, until the trench overflowed. There would be no doubt where the answer came from. Elijah prayed, not loudly, not desperately. He asked that God would reveal himself so the people would know who truly ruled. The wind stilled. The mountain held its breath. Fire fell from heaven. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, even the water. The impossible happened in an instant. Power answered prayer. The people fell to their knees. The Lord, He is God. Elijah stood silhouetted in fading flames. Victory had come. God was proven, but the fire would fade, and Elijah's greatest test was still ahead. The fire had fallen. The people had knelt. God had proven himself. By every measure, Elijah had just experienced the greatest victory of his life. But victory doesn't always end the battle. When Queen Jezebel heard what happened on Mount Carmel, she sent a message, not with an army, but with a threat. By this time tomorrow, you will be dead. And suddenly, the fearless prophet felt fear. Elijah didn't argue. He didn't pray. He ran. The same man who stood unshaken before hundreds now fled alone into the wilderness. Faith had won the battle, but exhaustion was winning his heart. He collapsed beneath a solitary tree. With no strength left, Elijah prayed his most honest prayer. "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life." This wasn't rebellion. It was burnout. God did not answer with correction. He answered with care. An angel touched Elijah and told him to eat. Then Elijah slept and slept again. Because sometimes what looks like spiritual failure is physical exhaustion. Strength slowly returned. Elijah traveled 40 days to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. He entered a cave, carrying questions heavier than his body. "I am the only one left," he believed. God told Elijah to stand on the mountain. A powerful wind tore through the rocks, but God was not in the wind. The ground shook, but God was not in the earthquake. Fire came, but God was not in the fire. Then came a whisper, a gentle, quiet voice, and Elijah covered his face. The God of fire chose silence not to display power, but to heal a wounded heart. God spoke not to end Elijah's calling, but to renew it. Elijah was not alone. There were others who had not bowed. his story wasn't finished. Fear had spoken, but God had the final word. Elijah left the mountain changed, still human, still tired, but no longer alone. The mystery wasn't why Elijah ran. It was why God met him with mercy instead of fire. The mountain was behind him now. Elijah stepped into the morning light, not with fire, not with thunder, but with clarity. God had spoken, and silence had done its work. God did not release Elijah from his calling. He redirected it. Elijah was told to return to anoint kings, confront nations, and finish what fear once interrupted. Rest had restored him. Obedience would test him. Elijah turned back toward the land he once fled. The road ahead led through danger, not comfort. But obedience rarely feels safe. It feels necessary. God's instructions were precise. Anoint Hazael, anoint Jehu, and then find Elisha. Elijah wasn't just sent to confront kings. He was sent to prepare the future. Elijah found Elisha plowing a field ordinary, unnoticed, faithful in small things. No fire fell, no voice thundered. Elijah simply threw his mantle over him and kept walking. Elisha understood immediately. This wasn't an invitation, it was a calling. He asked only to say goodbye. Then he burned his plow and followed Elijah, leaving his old life behind. Elijah said little. Leadership wasn't about speeches now, it was about example. Obedience had taught him that influence is passed quietly, not dramatically. The prophet who once stood alone now walked with a successor beside him. God hadn't replaced Elijah. He had multiplied the mission. Elijah learned something deeper than power that day. God's work does not depend on one voice, one moment, or one miracle. It continues through obedience one step at a time. Elijah moved forward, not chasing fire, not running from fear, but walking in purpose. His story wasn't ending. It was being prepared for something greater. Time passed quietly. Elijah knew his journey was nearing its end. He did not announce it. He simply walked teaching, preparing, and watching closely. Legacy does not rush. As they traveled, Elijah tested Elisha. "Stay here," he said. But Elisha refused to leave. Loyalty mattered more than comfort. The calling had to be chosen again and again. They came to the Jordan River. Elijah took his mantle and struck the water. The river parted, and they crossed on dry ground, just as Israel once had. On the other side, Elijah asked a final question. "What do you want before I am taken from you?" Elisha answered boldly, "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." Elijah did not promise easily. "If you see me when I am taken," he said, "it will be yours." The moment approached without warning. Suddenly, fire appeared again, but not as judgment. A chariot of fire separated them. Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind, alive, untouched by death. Elisha cried out not in fear, but in loss. His mentor was gone. The prophet of fire had vanished into heaven. Silence returned once more. Then Elisha saw it. The mantle had fallen. Elijah's calling had not ended. It had transferred. What God begins, he completes through others. Elisha returned to the Jordan. He struck the water and asked, "Where is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" The river parted again. The answer was clear. Elijah was gone, but the mission continued. Fire fades. Obedience remains. God's work never ends with one life. It moves forward through faithfulness,